Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is the Akazaki Yahoo, and I start this broadcast as I start every broadcast by giving all praise, honor, and great esteem to the Most High Power, Yahuwah, Bahashem, Yahushua, Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say shalom, wabarukim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together, and we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, once again, under one covenant. I am joined this evening by my very good Akeem. Got Yaliel. Shalom, Akeem.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Praise Yah. And I also got my esteemed Akinanaya. Shalom, Akeem.
Hey, shalom, shalom, brothers. Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. 12 nations, one tribe. Hallelujah.
Praise Yah. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Yes, indeed. So, all praises to the Most High. We've been able to go completely through the book of Bereshit, of the beginning, Genesis, and it has been such a barakah. We've learned so much, and has been such a positive impact and influence on me to go through every single word in that text and to really get a much better understanding than what I've had before. And I'm so thankful for that. And to now be able to continue into the book of Exodus or Shemot. Uh, so we're going to get a bit more, a bit deeper into the understanding of our forefathers, of our history, of our heritage, and to the second book of HaTorah. And so let's get to it. All praises to the Most High for this opportunity. Praise Yah. So let's go ahead and get to it. And this is the book of Shemot or Exodus, chapter 1. And verse 1, we see the headline here: Israel multiplies in Egypt. So let's go ahead and get started. Praise Yah. It says, now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Mizraim. Every man and his household came with Yaakov. Now, I believe we looked at all of these before. These are the 12. We've seen all of these in Exodus and in Bereshit. So let's go through here. We have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Yehuda. Those are the first four, of course, of Leah, his first wife, Yaakov's first wife. Then we have Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. It's ironic that they put Benjamin right there as opposed to, I thought they were keeping them, in order.
In order. That's what I was looking at as well.
Yeah. But to see, we know Benjamin is the youngest with Yosef. So but let's continue. Verse 4, Dan and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Yaakov were 70 souls, and Joseph was in Mizraim already. So we know again, Joseph was the governor of Mizraim, and from the previous chapter, from the previous book, we understand that the famine was sore, and as time continued, Joseph brought his father and his father's house in, and that's where we are at the current time. Verse 6, and Joseph died, and all of his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yah.
That's a fulfillment of the word that the Abba told Yaakov back in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 46, I believe verses 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. It says he tells Yaakov at this point, he's like, don't be afraid to go down into Mizraim because I'm going to make you a great nation there.
Hallelujah.
And this is a fulfillment of the word.
Praise Yah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We spoke briefly about that. What if Yaakov would have stayed in Canaan as opposed to, going to Mizraim? How different would things have been? Where you know you had the fulfillment of what he told Abraham: "Know of a surety that your seed shall be captive, and they shall serve them 400 years." Some say that that was Mizraim, and some say that that was where we are today. I think it could be a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, let's continue here. Verse 8, it says, Now there arose a new king over Mizraim, which knew not Joseph. And he said to his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there fall out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Now, I believe truthfully that that is the number one concern of the nations that we're scattered to at the current time, that they feel like that we're the enemy inside, and they look at us side-eyed, and they treat us like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's a greater separation with us now because these were the children of Ham, and they were dealing with the children of Israel. Uh, you know, at least they had at least they looked similar. Now, we dealing with people that don't look anything like us, and so they look at us completely sideways, and we often look at them sideways as well. So,
And
right,
we can draw so many different parallels between this generation of our people in Mizraim and
right,
our generation now, or even uh, our not so distant ancestors that were in bondage here.
right,
Uh, every conflict that has been fought on this continent, our ancestors played a role in, whether it was
absolutely,
the Revolutionary War or
hmm,
or the Civil War.
right,
And there was a fear of America that during the Revolutionary War that our that our people would go and join the British, and many of them did.
and
You
them
know,
did, yes, indeed,
and then with the Civil War, it was our ancestors that pretty much turned the war.
right,
I've got some patriarchs in my family from
hmm,
Jackson, Tennessee, and
hmm,
I went and I researched there because it was five brothers
hmm,
that ran away from slavery and joined the Union Army, and they've got different little statements about them. How they
hmm,
were like, one of them was a good cook, and he was known for just being a good cook. The other one of them is just they've got good reports of being good soldiers, but uh, their regiment that fought down there in they fought in the Western Theater down in Mississippi. They actually fought in the last battle of
hmm,
the Civil War, and the war was actually over with by a couple of hours, but the message didn't get there to their unit until after it had already been over with. But they fought in the Battle of Fort Blakey, and they went on and took that fort because there was a massacre with their brethren in Fort Pillow,
hmm,
where the Confederate Army wouldn't let them surrender.
hmm,
They were trying to surrender, and the Confederates were just bayoneting them. You know what I mean?
wow,
Mauling them
wow,
to death. So they had their taste of revenge at Fort Blakey, where they were able to pretty much turn the tides
yeah,
on the Confederates there, man. So just a little fun fact, man, that I keep with me, you know.
hey,
And
it's good,
and and in my family, well, I'm sure you coming from Arkansas,
hmm,
just really in the South,
hmm,
we would grow up hearing our great aunts talk about uh uh your great grandfather killed the white man, and if
yeah,
they come from Tennessee, Kentucky,
hmm,
it's probably true. You know what I'm saying?
okay, yes,
Because
indeed, yes, indeed,
Tennessee and Kentucky, it was only second to Louisiana, or
hmm,
only third to Louisiana in regards to sending uh so-called Negroes to the army, to the
right,
to the Union Army.
yes,
So
indeed, Yeah, Tennessee, especially, they known for their volunteers.
Uh-huh.
Uh, that's one of their highlights there. So, yeah, and yeah, I'm actually, I may be more than this, but I know that I'm the third generation. My father was in the army. My grandfather served in the army. My mother's side, and then it came to me, and I did my time as well. So, um, yeah, so you know, it's I guess it's in me. So we'll see what. Hopefully, one of my children won't have to do that. They'll be able to serve in a different capacity, maybe in the army in Congo. So we'll see. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So, chapter verse 11 here. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 11. Uh, Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasured cities, Pathram and Ramses. Uh, let's go ahead and take just a quick look at that, Pathram and Ramses. We know those are locations, of course, in Mizraim, but maybe they'll have some information for us that we were not privy to. Uh, Pithom, Pithram,
I
is
got
this about right?
a quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
Have y'all ever heard anything about what it says the new king or the new pharaoh being from a different group of people than the previous pharaoh?
Yeah, Khan. I was
Yeah.
watching the History Channel. This is years back. Like I want to say I was like maybe 20 years old or something. But it was saying that they were Hizakos. They were from the north, like either Turkey or maybe further north than that. But it was saying that they were a different people than the actual Egyptians,
Egyptians.
Hamites.
Con. That
Y'all
makes sense.
heard Zion Letts, he had mentioned before that it was highly probable there was a different group of people who came in and took over.
Hmm.
Throughout Egypt's history, they've been ruled by different a few different groups that were known as Egyptians, but they they went through different rulerships of
Hmm.
different groups,
Yeah,
and
Khan.
he was saying that that's why that they were afraid that they would join with the enemies because the enemies, if they were a different group, would be the people who knew Yosef and respected Yosef. So that's why they didn't really want them to continue to grow in power.
Con. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That when you look at that, what ruler wouldn't know? Because when you pass down the monarchy, it goes down from from father to son. And so, what sense would it make that the man who saved this nation, not only this nation, but basically the entire earth, because to get food in those 7 years, you had to come to Mizraim, and for Joseph to be elevated to that position, uh, what sense would it make that the one that did the most for that very nation would be forgotten by the leader of that nation when he was the right hand to that leader? How would you not know him unless you came and overtook them, and now that you were an outsider ruling and didn't have that same reverence or respect for his people, and instead now you wanted to um, you know assert your authority over these people to keep them from going against you. So yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Uh,
Yes, indeed. So this word Pithrum or Pathrum says a city of justice, which interesting. So that's where the Israelites had to build for them as a city of justice. Let's see what this Ramses says here. Yeah, of Egyptian origin. Child of the sun. Hmm. A city in Lower Egypt built by the Hebrew slaves, probably in Goshen.
Con. You
So
know,
this was a place in Goshen.
it's some more parallels that we can draw in between
Mm-hmm.
what we're reading here with our ancestors in Mizraim and our people here. America is called land of justice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we know
Mm-hmm.
that our ancestors, if it hadn't been for the sweat, blood, and tears of our ancestors, this country wouldn't be what it is. And
Right.
then in regards to this city named Ramses,
Mm-hmm.
it's the custom of the people that we're in captivity with here. Those who oppress us now. They named the cities after themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Absolutely. All these cities and states. I'm in Jeffersonville.
Hmm.
I mean, come on. But that tells you right there. Louisville.
Right,
Uh,
right.
all kind of. These places are all named after these people. They call them after their own selves. So they think that they time is going to be forever. But the Most High say differently. So let's continue here. Verse 12 says, "But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel." So all praises to the Most High. The Most High
Hallelujah.
give us that ability to take that hard bondage and work and labor, and yet we still are able to prosper. We're still able to multiply, and we're still able to continue. Even in this climate today, we're dealing with outrageous prices of food and necessities, and yet we continue to have children and to increase in this land. So um, probably not at the rate that we were in our grandparents' days, but we're still creating the next generation, and we're still moving forward. So all praises for that.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. Verse 13. And the Mizrites made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. And all of their service wherein they were made to serve was with rigor. So now, not only did they work our ancestors here, they worked us with rigor, with hardness, with harshness.
Con.
So it
Hey,
wasn't this. This wasn't a go in and punch in and just do the job, and the job was hard, and you did it anyway, and at the end of it, you got some food and a place to live, and this wasn't that type of thing. This was hard bondage. This was
indeed.
whips and chains and tearing of skin, and this was horrible, deplorable working conditions. Not even working conditions. This was slavery.
Hmm.
I was trying to make it too nice. This was slavery. This was bondage.
Harsh. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Harsh.
yes, indeed. That
Do
our
we have time to
ancestors
look
made.
and see what that rigor, what that
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's good. Let's take a look at rigor here at how they. What is the origin of that word? That's my question here. Uh, so it comes from the Hebrew word
correct?
pekrit, perik, kind
Hmm.
perik. Let me see. From an unused root meaning to break apart. Harshness, severity, cruelty.
Hmm.
Yeah, just as we were saying here. Perik, from the unused root meaning to break apart, fracture, i.e., sever. Yeah, so like I said, it was some tearing the skin. I mean, this was some destructive type of work type of bondage that they were doing. I keep saying work, and I don't want to say work because work is associated with with dignity. This was not a dignified situation. This was a forcible uh, chains and just evil labor,
Hmm.
harshness, and just you know breaking apart, tearing our ancestors, destroying their bodies. doing this labor, doing this slavery here. So yeah, that is a hard saying. Verse 14. Uh, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick. Oh, I just read that, Slika. Verse 15. And the king of Mizraim spake unto the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other was Puah. So let's check out Shipra and Puah. I think we saw Shipra before, but let's make sure that was the same one. Actually, no, it wasn't, because this is the first place it shows up. Exodus 1:1, Exodus 1:15. So where was it 1:1?
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, I missed
Yeah.
that.
Oh, it might be right here. No, it doesn't even say it here. I don't know. I guess it's a typo. Okay. Anyway, her name Shipra of Israelitis Shipara. All right. One of the Hebrew midwives who were ordered by Pharaoh to kill the male children born into the Hebrews, but who disobeyed. So she disobeyed and didn't follow that. Let's check out Puha. Puwa. Puwa. Her name means splendid. One of the two, same thing. And Pharaoh to kill all the male children born in Israel. It's the time of Moses. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, I don't know why they had that 1:1 there, because I didn't see that there.
Con.
Yeah, let's continue here. Verse 16. And he said, when you do the office of the midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Now, interesting. I know we've read this before, but some of the commentary I've gotten, or some of the instructions or the teachings I've gotten on this particular verse here has been very interesting. Uh, so why is it that they would kill the boys, but the females they would keep? What do y'all think? Any thoughts on that?
You know, I'm thinking if it's a woman, it's I don't know. I'm just kind of talking turkey here, but perhaps uh, one of their men could come in and lay seed in her, forever, you know, uh, making that seed to dwell, with it's kind of almost similar to how our ancestors, our mothers here were raped. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's my thinking on it.
Okay. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, y'all, Leo?
Yeah, I was thinking that, and as well as far as like if they were that we're gonna rise up against them or join their enemies, like the fewer the men that grow up means the fewer the men that can join the enemy. And
Okay.
yeah, like he said, like they can sleep with the women or take the women if they want, but without the men, then like you ain't gonna really see like a nation of women
Right. Kind.
being able to go to battle.
Uh,
Yes, indeed.
and
So,
even now in our communities now, they say that our communities are so uh intimidating and dreadful. But
mm,
I don't know if you all have just driven through, the hoods here and locally. You
mm,
don't see a lot of men in our community. You see more children and women than any other demographic for the most
right.
part.
Mm,
And to me, that's not intimidating. And for them, to see these women would not be intimidating as it would to see, a community full of men. You know.
right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. One of my the elder that immersed me in water. Uh, Isaac Ben Israel. He he went over this many times with us, especially during the set apart time, and he's basically laid it out quite frankly. You get rid of the males. Of course, the male is the provider, protector, and so you get rid of that, and then the women, the females are absorbed into the culture. So they'll just become, it's kind of like, well, it's different though. As we read, remember when we read where Levi and Simeon went into Shechem and killed all of the males, and they took the wives and the children, they took the women and the children and put them in bondage. Uh, you know, they didn't kill the males, they didn't kill the boy children, they killed the men, and they had the boys to work. So I guess that was showing the difference there and the righteousness. It gave them a chance, and we see further in the book where even an adversary would be left, raised up against Solomon. One male who would raise up and become a nation and would become adversary even to Solomon. So yeah, definitely that having that male, having a man, having a young boy who's able to grow into a man, um, that's definitely a threat. So it's a threat to have any kind of male adversary, and so that's where the Pharaoh in this instance was speaking of. Get rid of the boys, but keep the daughters. Get rid of the sons, but keep the daughters, because the daughters can become a part of us. So yes, indeed. All right, verse 17. It says, "But the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Mizraim commanded them, but saved the men children alive." I like how they use that term right there, men children, because that gave it that kind of drives it home. Like that's what these were. These were men children that
Right.
children that were born, males that were born that would eventually become men. So,
Mm-hmm.
verse 18. "And the king of Mizraim called for the midwives and said unto them, Why have you done this thing and saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Mizraim women, they are lively, and they deliver ere the midwives come in unto them." So they saying they dropping the babies out before we even get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just they just saying that because they didn't want to be responsible for that ridiculous request or command that the Pharaoh gave. So let's continue here. Verse 20. "Therefore, the Most High dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mightily. And it came to pass, because of the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all of his people, saying, Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive." Man, this was a wicked dude, man.
Indeed.
This was a wicked dude. I can't imagine throwing a baby into the river. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. More parallels between, that generation and our generation now.
Mhm.
Uh, if I was to ask you brothers, what is the leading cause of murder within the Negro population here in America? Like, what would you all think it was?
A
Most of the
murder?
answers that we would get would be, heart attack,
Hmm.
uh, cancer,
Right.
some type of heart disease or something like that. But in
Okay.
fact, it's abortion.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and now our people are we're so lost that, you know, nobody is doing this to us now. Like,
Right.
our people are making their own decisions to abort these children. You know,
Hmm.
it's like we've put these chains back on ourselves, man.
Yeah. Yeah. it was like when we went to the spot last week and we were talking to the, trying to talk to the brother. I had a slight conversation with him. You know, you want to do for the youth. You want to raise up the community. Ultimately raise up the nation. It's got to be with families. You got to have families because the reason these women, and not making any excuse, but the reason these abortion clinics are packed with women, because these women don't have husbands. If these women had husbands, had men who were leaders, who had men who would protect them and provide for them, then abortions would be an obsolete conversation. There would be virtually no abortions in among this nation. But we don't have men we don't have boys who are growing into men who learn to provide and protect for his woman or his women. And instead, you got baby mamas and baby daddies and hit it and quit it and all of this other nonsense. And that's how you destroy people. You
Indeed.
know, uh, you know, I'm trying to remember. You help me remember what the text says. Uh, okay. You shall not prostitute your daughter that calls her to become a whore. Least the land fall to whoredom, and all the land is defiled.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm saying that right, I may be saying it wrong. Y'all recall what I'm talking about?
Con.
I
I
want
know
to
what you're
say
talking
this.
about.
Where is that? Let me see if we can find that here. Uh, let me see. Let me see. Shut up, prostitute. Find it before me. Let me know. Okay, looks like Leviticus 19:29. Let's get that real quick. Yeah, Khan, that's exactly what it is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you do not prostitute your daughter to cause her to become a whore, lest the land fall to a whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. I didn't say it right, but the scripture got it right. So, yeah, that's the problem is that we don't teach our sons to be husbands. We don't teach them to provide and protect these women. And they ended up making baby mamas and, end up trying to live fast life, going to prison, in and out of jail, in and out of conflict with these heathens. And, meanwhile, this woman, she with this one, she with that one, she with the next
Mm-hmm.
one, and she get pregnant. She don't know who it is. Just go to the clinic, get rid of it. And they happy to do it. They
Yeah,
happy
con.
to see a black woman come in there and put her feet up on the thing and take that little black child out of there, and that's one more they don't have to deal with. So sad reality, man. It's a sad reality. So
Yes, indeed.
yes, indeed. Well, let's continue with chapter number 2 here. It says the birth of Moses. This is the beginning of this chapter. So chapter 1 gave us a little bit of history, and let's get into chapter 2 here. Uh, verse 1. It says, "And there went a man out of the house of Levi, and took a wife of the daughter of Levi." So this is a Levite husband and a Levite wife. And continue here, verse 2. "And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months." Now, remember, she's hiding this child because Pharaoh has given the order that any male child get rid of them,
Con.
throw them in the river. And I cannot imagine seeing my child thrown into a river. I mean, I just can't, I couldn't wrap my brain around that. That is such a horrific, a horrendous act, to see a child just thrown into a river. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh, let's continue here. Verse 3. And when she could no longer hide him, she took him, she took for him an ark of brushes, of bulrushes, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the riverbank, by the river's bank. So she's trying to basically sell this child off somewhere so that he can be safe and not have to die in a drowning death.
And Con, I'm thinking about, the previous verse that we just read. What would that do to an individual, a mother or a father, seeing their child thrown into a river? You know what I mean? And
Man,
I'm also remembering the Most High telling Yaakov, to not be fearful about going down into Mizraim because it's
kind,
going to make us a mighty, an exceedingly people, mighty people.
right,
Um,
kind,
so I have to believe that these things that are being done, it's going to put these individuals who are losing these children
mhm,
to definitely not put any trust in man.
right,
Because
exactly.
you're going to see that man is wicked,
Yeah,
is all out. You know what I mean?
yes,
Uh,
indeed,
where you just like the only person that you can depend on is the Most High. You know,
yes, indeed,
and at some point you're gonna start crying out to him. You
right,
know,
kind. I cannot, and I will forgive me. I'm not trying to be carnal here, but I cannot imagine visually seeing my child thrown into, even mishandled to a place where it could be potentially, where he could be potentially thrown into a river by, you know, I don't, I don't know what kind of force. I know they probably had a great force. It wasn't one guy or two guys coming to do something like this. I'm sure it was, 10, 20, 30 people, to show up to take your child to throw him in the river, to subdue the father because they had him still in bondage, still working in bondage. And, his wife is giving birth and you find out and here the government comes to take your child. I'm sure it wasn't a female social worker or a even a male social worker. I'm sure it was
it's like a police, some type of
yeah,
police official.
right, right. And I'm sure it was like a small, basically a small army,
Con.
and they made a probably a spectacle of it. And I just imagine being that father. I got to get to two or three or four throats before you put me down. You're not gonna just take my child. I got to have your throat if you're gonna take my child. I try and grab it and pull it out.
All right.
That that's just so that's just such a horrendous thought. Just the thought of that in my mind is so. Whew, it's taking down my ruach. Just thinking about it. Verse 4. Whew. And his sister stood afar off, and with what would be done to him. So she's wondering what's going to happen to this boy that's in this little boat here.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maids walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maids to fetch it. Verse 6. And when she opened it and saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. And when his sister, Silicon, then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to you a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you? Now she look at the Most High working through this child, this
Man,
daughter here.
that's what I'm thinking about.
You
This
know what
is
I'm saying? Just working
mercy,
through.
man. It's grace.
Look. I was just thinking about that situation, and my ruach was down. Reading that little bit, my ruach is lifted up again. Just all praise
Hallelujah.
to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Verse 8. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. So she went and got his mother. She didn't go get, some other woman. Verse 9. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages. Your wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. So all praises to the Most High. Not only is Moshe saved in this situation
I'm
from
being
destruction,
paid.
from death, from drowning in the river, but the daughter of Pharaoh takes him and gives him to the mother and says, not only take care of him, but I'm gonna pay you to do it.
Mm.
She
All
said, I'm
praise.
gonna pay you to take care of your child. She didn't say that. She was saying, I'm gonna pay you to take care of this child, but that child was hers.
Yeah,
So all praises to the Most High. I mean, that is a barakah. Now, also kind of changing gears a little bit. Imagine Moshe. Now, Moshe is on Sinai still getting this information. And so he's getting the information of his own birth. This is the time before he can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting this information. And I wonder if he's like, Moses, that's me. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting in itself. That's interesting to think about as well. So,
yeah. It's
yeah,
crazy though how you know most High worked all that out. Like she was able to save a child and get paid for raising a child. So
God,
like,
that's
like
that's that's the hand of the Most High at work. I mean, that is beautiful. You couldn't write a better story than that.
right.
You
Like
honestly
who
could.
knows how far like the money she made help to take care of her own, and her other kids.
Hmm.
It's
Gone,
like,
gone.
you know, that kept the whole, you know, that helped keep the whole family going.
Kind, yes,
Especially when
indeed.
they saying it was being put through hard labor and stuff,
Kind,
and everybody ain't privy to have that extra money coming in. It's like
exactly, exactly.
that
Yes,
that was a most powerful blessing right there that probably worked out for the have Aharon and his sister grow up, keep growing, and
kind,
I
yes,
don't know if
indeed.
he had any other brothers and sisters, but I can only imagine through those hard times what they was able to do for a family.
Oh yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's just a beautiful work of the Most High to see His hand at work. Uh, Indeed. Verse 9, it says, And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, I just read that, didn't
Gone.
I? All right, give you wages. Verse 10, And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and she became her son, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because she drew him out of the water. So now they got this Hebrew child in Pharaoh's house, and he is raised as they are.
Gone. Can we
That's it.
uh can we look to see what Moshe means?
Oh, kind. Let's do that. Yeah, that's the first time we've seen his name here. Yep, Moshe, yes indeed. Praise Yah. Draw.
Gone.
Prophet, lawgiver, leader of the Exodus.
So
Moshe.
let me ask you this, because the way that read, it was almost as if Pharaoh's daughter gave him a Hebrew name, or did his mother?
She said, um, well, and it may have been that she called him, by the Egyptian name that meant the same
Okay,
thing.
and maybe
But
when it says and she, maybe she is still speaking about Moshe's mother then.
well, I think because she said she drew him out of the water. I mean, that was Pharaoh that drew him out of the water. That was Pharaoh's daughter that drew him out
Yeah,
of the water.
con. That's what
Yeah,
I was thinking, man.
Ruda etymology. Yeah, that's the Egyptian word. Not Egyptian. That's a Hebrew word from 4871. This is Uh, it's used 766 times. My goodness. Uh, yeah. So, and it could have been that she called him by a an Egyptian name, but when the Most High gave the story, he switched it to Hebrew. So it made made better sense. Or when Mashiach, however you want to designate that. Um, okay. So verse 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moshe was grown, and he went out unto his brethren, and took and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. So Moshe was like, "Hold up, man."
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I'm thinking in my mind here that Moshe, he was nursed by his mother, so he understood the Hebrew, some of the Hebrew customs and cultures, some of that. He understood he was a Levite, and his father was a Levite, and his mother was a Levite, and he understood that these were his people, and we see that because him being an adult, he comes out and sees, hey, these are my people, and you check out a Egyptian smiting, as in basically killing a Hebrew, and verse 12, and he looked this way and that way, and when he saw there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. So he like, yeah,
God.
and covered him up, gave him that Hebrew, gave him that Hebrew thump, and covered him up. Hey, that's a movie we need to get for there, the Hebrew thump.
God.
Oh, praises. Yes, indeed. So, verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said unto him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest you your fellow? So, man, why you dealing with your brother like that, man? What's wrong with you?
Mhm.
Check this out, though. This is our people. This is how you know. This is how you know who these people are right here today. You don't see this in up and down the streets where we live. Verse 14. And he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Intend you to kill me as you killed the Mizrite? And Moshe feared and said, surely this thing is known.
Mhm.
Oh man, this like how you gonna this brother was protecting a Hebrew or his own people, and rather than that be revered by his own people, you get this brother here talking about uh you gonna do me like you did him?
Right. Right.
Like what kind of foolishness is this? If he'd have been on some other stuff, it would have been, if he'd have came at him like an Egyptian, then it would have been a whole different situation. But
And that's how we are to this day.
God,
You
yes
know,
indeed.
a lot of times you'll hear rappers talk about what they gonna do if the police show up, and
Right,
it's kill 4, 5 niggas on your
right,
CD, but then
right.
the police show up and you get taken without a fight, man.
Exactly. No conflict, no battle, no
Right.
all of that out the door. Soon as the so-called white man come on the scene, you ready to surrender.
Yeah.
But let it be your own people. Somebody scuff your shoes, and now somebody gotta die. I mean, you know, we got to get back to this Torah. This Torah teaches us how to love one another,
Indeed.
and that's why we're doing this. We're reading this to bring out the better understanding for our people. So all praises. So the headline here says Moshe escapes to Midian. All right, verse 15 says, now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian and sat down by the well. He's like, I'm out of here. Get to a place where I'm not, somebody don't want my head.
All right.
Verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled their troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood up and helped them and watered their flocks. And it came, and there came Slikah. And when they came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it you have come so soon today? So let's check out Ruel here.
There's
Now, of
something,
course,
something about the Most High.
yeah, kind. Ru,
Right,
Ruel,
well, right,
Reuel.
right, well.
Con. That's I be nailing it. Nailing this he be helping me on this side. It's so heavy. Translated very well. So I'm gonna use a few times, 10, about 11 times. Reuel, friend of the Most High. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Reuel. Seems like that's almost should have been Abraham's name. Reuel.
Con.
Look, but it's used by son of Esau by his wife. I'm not gonna say her name. The sister of Ishmael, the in-law of Moses, father-in-law of Moses, also Jethro. So they only called him Yeruel. There's about 11 times, but yeah, he was always known as Jethro in the
Con.
text. So I'm betting they use that a whole lot more uh, than they use Reuel. Leader of the tribe of Gad at a time in the census of Sinai, and a Benjamite, the ancestor of Eliah. So yeah, that's a pretty good name, Reuel. Reuel, I like that. Let's continue here. Uh, and verse 19. And they saw an Egyptian and Salika, and they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. Now, this man got 7 daughters. So look what he said. And he said to his daughters, where is he? Why is it you have left the man? Call him that he may come and eat bread. Like, hey, let this man take some of y'all
That's
away from
right.
me.
That's right. What y'all doing? What y'all doing?
7 of y'all. Just bring that man in here.
Right.
That's funny.
And then and I've been reading Exodus because we're going through Passover and unleavened bread
Okay.
and stuff. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, most people would say that the Egyptians were melanated people, and then we see here these Midianites,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to call them. They saying Moshe and mistaking him for an Egyptian,
Mm-hmm.
Con.
All right.
but people don't want to say that the Hebrews or Israelites were black. It was like,
Right. Exactly. And that's what they've been pointing out since, that was the very foundation for me and the truth was the Egyptians were black and the Israelites were mistaken for Egyptians. The Israelites had to be black too. Like that makes perfect sense.
And
right,
But yet we've been given these Ashkenazis, these uh uh what are they?
Khazarians.
Khazarians. That's what I'm trying to say.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, these Khazars. We've been given these Khazars, and that's who we supposed to believe are the children of Israel, which obviously through the text that's not evident. That's not real. So Midian was obviously Midian. We go back to the beginning. Bereshit 25. We see the Midianites on the scene. They come from Abraham and Keturah.
Con.
Uh-huh.
So they live amongst Ishmael. They all mingle together. They live in the same area. So this land of Midian is just a land of Ishmael. That's where he is. He's amongst the Ishmaelites, and a place where the Midianites dwell. But they are one people. Uh, verse 11 or verse 21. And Moshe was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moshe Zipporah, his daughter. So he told you trying to get rid of them girls. Like, hey, shoot, it's 7 of y'all. Let me get y'all
Yes,
up out of here.
especially a brother that knows how to handle himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he drove away the shepherds and he fought. Bring that man in here. He wanted the flock. Why you left him? Bring him. Tell him we got some food for him. Tell him I want to meet him.
Right.
Come on in. Come on
Like you eat lamb, son?
Right,
in.
right,
Right.
right.
Exactly. Her name is
Zipporah.
Sipporah. There's another silent T out.
Uh-huh.
Sipporah. Sipporah. Her name means bird. That's a strange name. I thought it would have some kind of deep meaning in all the letters in it.
Right.
Bird. So I guess she was a small woman like
Leah.
Leah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Daughter of Jethro, wife to Moshe, mother of Gershom and Eleazar. Yeah. So those are Moshe's children.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
it's pretty amazing to me that like well here Moshe is being raised in an Egyptian household,
Uh-huh.
but you know, being around his people still probably knowing who his people are. We know by the time he slayed the Egyptian he knew who his people were.
Right.
And then leaving and who does he run into out of all other tribes but a tribe that comes from Abraham who Abraham taught all his kids
Mm-hmm.
his ways. So
Mhm.
it's like steps coming back into the fold of what he's supposed to be. Like it's not quite what the Most High probably showed them at the mountain,
Mhm.
but it's closer than the Egyptian. Like
Right.
he's slowly bringing them back around to like what he's supposed to be doing and what
Yeah.
our people supposed to be doing. So it's 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 just like mind blowing thinking about. It's like he ran into these people who would have been at least keeping some form of some laws
Mhm.
already. It's like
Right. Right.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
Most High is a grand architect, man.
I'm
yeah,
telling you.
The way he's able to move us as pieces and situations, man. It's mind blowing, man.
Con. I mean, look at this. We read in verse 16. It says, "Now the priest of Midian." So he was a priest of
yeah.
Midian.
Then he was a priest. Or what?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. So that was his job. Now, I saw recently on somebody asked the question, "Who was the first king of Israel?" And you get about three correct answers with that. Um, one correct answer I've been told was that Yehuda was the first king of Israel, which makes sense. That's why I said that's a correct answer. Another correct answer, I believe, would be Moshe was the first king, unofficial king of Israel, because basically he was, he brought us out and
I mean,
he
we can
was the
read
head
that in
guy.
scripture as well, huh?
Yeah, he was the head. He was the head guy.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, his father-in-law talked to him about taking on that burden and how that was just too great for him. And then of course the first official king of Israel, being Shaul,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as a punishment for the children of Israel even asking for a king. But but yeah, he was getting trained. That's one thing else that my that the Ark was teaching us is that he got trained. He was getting trained to do this position. That's why he ended up in the house of a priest and married to the daughter of a priest. So he was able to learn, the ways of the priest. Uh,
Oh man, he was in the house of the Pharaoh too. So like, he's constantly
yeah.
learning what it is to be a leader.
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Oh most definitely. Most definitely. Yes, he was
Like
in the house.
for good for the better or worse, how they would say
Yes, indeed. For better
like
or worse, yes indeed. I
like
was
he's
thinking the same
learning the ins and out. He learned from Pharaoh and seeing how that operates. Then he runs it to a priest,
kind.
and then the Most High give him his own mission, and he has to continue to learn on the job. So it's like he didn't think he was worthy, but looking back at his story, he was built for it.
I'm telling you, he was raised. He was raised to do it. Basically, he was absolutely. He was raised to do this work that he did. So, and mind you, again, he's getting this, which I'm sure he remembers this part. Of course, he remembered, going to Midian and doing all of this, but learning about what he did, what happened to him as a baby. Um, I'm sure his mother had probably told him that when he was a child. Yeah, I put you in the boat, and I just thought you was gonna be it, and Pharaoh's daughter saved you and brought you to me, the nurse, and she paid me to do it, and you grew into a man, and so I'm sure that Hebrew, I don't want to say pride, but that Hebrew, I guess it would be pride, probably was on him pretty good. And here he meets another Hebrew, uh, you know, this Ray Well, um, he's a Hebrew as well. So
Mm-hmm.
let's continue. And she bare him a son and called their name uh, Goshen, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. So let's see what Goshen mean here. Am I saying that right? Grisham?
Gershom.
Gershom. Okay. I'm trying to associate
Gershom.
that with
Gershom.
Gresham. Gresham. Foreign. Foreign is what that means. Firstborn of Moses and firstborn son of Levi. He named his son Gershom as well. I don't remember reading that.
It was three of them. And you know what? Like I don't either because it was
Yeah, because it's not.
Kohath, Gershom. Yeah. Kohath, Gershom, and Merari.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Gershom, one of the four sons of the Israelites. Yeah, Khan. Okay. Let's continue. We're almost through with this chapter here. Um, Strange that. Okay, verse 23. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Mizraim died, and the children of Israel sighed by the reason of their bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of their bondage. And the Most High heard their groans, and the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel and had respect unto them. All praises.
All praises, man.
You put that word remember.
Oh, Silicon, which one?
Remember.
You say which one not grown?
Remember.
Remember.
Oh, remembered. Oh, Silicon, okay. Silicon, I couldn't understand you there. Okay, right here. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's interesting. Uh
Zakar.
Zakar, Khan. Remembrance 172 times, mentioned 21 times, remembrance 10 times, recorded 9 times, mindful 6, think 3, bring to remembrance So yeah, remember, recall, call to mind, uh, brought to remembrance. It's all have to do with recalling or remembering, taking more, remembering. Yeah, it would seem as if he let's see what this word respect means. Had respect. Yeah dang.
Yeah, yeah, done.
Yeah dang. Look, I put a G in there for I get a NG in there. I don't know. I'm horrible at phonics. Uh to know. To know. So that means to know. To know, learn, to perceive. So it is not that he had respect as it he
And
knew
I
them.
thought, yeah, I thought it would have meant like some type of another word for compassion, but I
Yeah.
don't see that there anywhere. Compassion.
No. No, it's to know he knew them. So when we read here, know 645 times, known 105 times, knowledge 19 times, perceive 18 times, slew or shoe 17 times, tell 8 times, risk 7 times, understand 7 times, certainty 7 times, so on and so forth. So declared, teach, miscellaneous 85 times. So that's the interesting part. Is miscellaneous 85 times.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of times for something that's miscellaneous. That puts it to what, third on the list.
Yeah, come.
85. Yeah. So no, they're miscellaneous. Like,
Well, almost more times than every other time.
God, yes indeed. And all those other times actually combined. So that's interesting. Let's see. Heard their groans. So I'm sure their groans was them crying. You know, uh, Nethwa Nethwaka Nethwaka
Naaka. Naaka.
Naaka Naaka. I can have me right on this one. I'll tell you. Groans, groaning. Yeah, groans, groaning. So yeah, that was pretty straight translation there. I thought it would be more along the lines of crying or, but groans. Yeah, that's kind of like the same thing. We got cry right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different word. By their cry, that's shavah. Seems like I've seen that one. So, have we seen that one? No, no. That's the first time it's used here. Shavah. Yeah, a howling cry, crying, a howling cry, crying for help. And that's what we're gonna have to get to. That's what's gonna make my Mashiach show up when we finally get to a place where we crying out, Yabba, help me, help us, Abba, help us, save us,
Indeed.
protect us. We had our wits end. We don't have nothing else. Help us, Abba. And that's when the Mashiach gonna open that sky. Boom! It's gonna
That's
be.
right.
Whew. Yes, indeed. So, all right, let's continue here. All praises. Let's continue. Verse chapter number 3 here. I think it's 3 is actually short as well. Yeah, it's only 22. And it's not a lot for us to look up, so it's going pretty quick. We only an hour, just an hour, about 10 minutes in. So yeah, I think we probably can do. I think we can do about two more. What y'all think about two more?
Well, at least
At
three.
least one.
Yeah, kind. I
Okay,
mean,
at least
yeah, I
one.
meant at least chapter 3.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Well, let's continue. Matter of fact, Ken and I, you go ahead if you will, and pick up chapter 3 for me if you will.
Kind, indeed. This is the book of Exodus, Shemot, chapter 3. Now Moshe kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, and the priests of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. You know, Horeb just being another name for Sinai. You know.
Sinai, Khan. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Verse 2. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while the bush is not burnt. And when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, the Most High called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh, draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Most High of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, the power of Jacob. And Moshe hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High.
Khan. So that tells us right there, he had some inkling of who this was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he must have had that from his mother. You know, he said, I'm a turn and see what this is. What's causing this bush to burn without being consumed? And yet, you know, he called to him and said, Moshe. He called him by his name, and he was like, you know, it seemed like I'd have been like, who is that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he said, here I am.
And so, with him also being raised in Mizraim, you know, he would have been raised around these people who were worshiping all of these other deities.
Exactly.
You know, at some point, the deity or, you know, the Most High Creator, it would have come up in regards to, you know, the people who they were oppressing. You know, who was their power? You know what I mean? So I'm just under the belief that he would have had some, like you said, some type of knowledge of the Most High. You know.
Kind. Well, we know that they were calling out to the Most High in their affliction, and so that caused him to, you know, to send some help for him. And so, you know, here we get this messenger, according to the text here, we get a messenger that you just read. What verse was that? Verse 3.
Let's
Verse,
see. Khan.
yeah. So
Well, verse 4. 4 is when I
verse 4.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, from the mist. Yeah. So we get this particular messenger, and he's coming down to speak. You know, and so let's continue here.
All right. This is the book of Exodus, Shemot, chapter 3, verse 6. Moreover, he said, or actually,
Verse
verse
7.
7. Yeah,
Kind,
Khan.
my bad. Sorry, kind.
And Yahweh said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Mizraim, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of out of that land, into a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. The mission of Moses, verse 10.
Kind.
Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Mizraim.
Kind. Now keep in mind that the old Pharaoh is gone, and this is a new Pharaoh. So this is not a Pharaoh that was. This Pharaoh may not even be privy to what Moshe did back when he did what he did before he left.
Come.
Yes, indeed.
All right, verse 11. And Moshe said unto the Most High, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Mizraim? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. when thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the Most High upon this mountain. So you know, this is Mashiach speaking to him.
Khan, yes indeed, yes indeed, and we do see that play forth. We're gonna bring them back to this mountain. So this is, what was it called? I forgot the name of it, but we know this is Sinai, but it had another name that we read.
Horeb.
Horeb, Khan, yeah, Horeb, yeah. So this is Horeb. He's saying, "I'm gonna bring you back to this," and we know that going forward with Sinai. So we know Sinai from what Galatians. We know Sinai is in Arabia.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Khan. Verse 13. And Moshe said unto the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The power of your fathers have sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And the Most High said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am have sent me unto you. And the Most High said moreover unto Moshe, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh, your power, Salakia, Yahweh, the power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yahweh, the power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done unto you in Mizraim. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Mizraim unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, Yahweh, the power of the Hebrews, hath met with us. And now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice unto Yahweh our power. I am sure that the king of Mizraim will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Mizraim with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Mizraites. And it shall come to pass that when ye shall not go empty, but every woman shall borrow of her neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in the house, jewels of silver, and jewels of gold, and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians. Hallelujah.
Praise Yah. Yes, indeed. So yeah, I mean that was pretty straight through without any that was pretty straight information. So, I do find it unusual. Um, you know, verse 14 here, the power, the Most High said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, you shall say unto the children of Israel, I am have sent you, I have sent me unto you. And people take this and make this the name of the Most High. Um, and this is in so many different places. Matter of fact, let's get the Strongs here. This I am. This is in so many different places in the text. Uh, not as his name. It's a total of hey, no, that's not what I was looking for. Hey, yeah. Oh, that was it. Hey, yeah, that was it. I just said it wrong. Let me see. Yeah, that's the same one. Hey, yeah. Hey, y'all. Um, yeah, but we got, entire congregations and camps and a camp that believe that this is the name of the Most High, that I am. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Yah is the name of the Most High, which is unsensible. I told some brothers I was having a conversation on Facebook some years ago, and I told if I told you I was 6'5" and 300 pounds, and I'm the baddest you ever seen. Am I saying that's my name? No. I mean, that's exactly what he was saying there. I am that I am. That's not his name. That's what he's saying. I am that I am. I am because I am. I exist because I exist. So that's definitely not him saying this is my name. He said this is my name forever, and that's the tetragrammaton. I'm saying that wrong. The tetragrammaton.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and that's what he said his name is, as a memorial to all generations. So it wasn't I am that I am. It is the Yohei Wahe is what he's saying his name was.
Okay,
So
Khan, where can we see that yo hey why hey?
uh, well, it should be here. Should be here. Let's see. Yeah, they
Okay,
translated into that, which I won't even say that mess. But
so
that's
why
really
why
what it
why do
is.
they do that?
Hey, wicked. Pushing their own agenda. They try to make it into something different. You should be able to say the Most High's name, but we know the Tetragrammaton, and uh, like how you gonna tell people? Basically, they were trying to do basically what Pharaoh was doing is remove us from our um, from our history and our heritage, because that's really what it's about. Because it's not for them.
Mhm.
Here's I know you guys still see my screen.
Yeah, Khan.
Yeah.
Okay, trying to get this to open up. Well, I guess it's not gonna cooperate. This computer is probably need defrag or something. Well, anyway, I don't know if y'all can see that too good. I was trying to get it to open, and that's one of them. I lost it now. But we have that all over. All over Israel. The Yohei Wahe.
Hmm.
It's on that logo. There it is, right next to that logo. Uh, yeah, it's not opening. I don't know why it's not opening, but it's just spinning. So it's still this computer just not cooperating. But either way, but yeah, I don't know. They taking that down and put that name there, and we know that's not what it is. Um, so we basically just have to. That's one of those walk by faith type things. Walk by belief, because we know the Most High's name is not J anything. We know the Messiah's name is not J anything,
Right.
and so we put their name correct. The Yohei Wahe, and if you pronounce it, some people say Yahuwah, some people say Yehovah, some people say Yahweh, some people say uh, Yahuwah. However you pronounce it, as long as you
Oh,
pronouncing it, all praises to the
Yahweh,
Most High. Yeah, Yahweh, even that Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yeah, come. However you pronounce
Yahoo.
it. Yes, indeed. However you pronounce it, just as long as you're putting something to it, and your intention is to reverence the power of Israel,
Mhm.
the power of that sits on high. Then you know, but this LOID, that's not reverencing the Most High.
Right.
That was just them doing that for you know getting rid of his name. Let's just remove his name so they won't cry out to him. But all these years later, here we are, 400 plus years later, and what we doing? We calling on the name of Yohei Wahe.
Indeed. Hallelujah.
Yes,
There
indeed.
we
However
go.
you pronounce it, we calling on his name. So their little plan didn't work. Just like the Mizrahites, the plan didn't work. Excuse me. And just like they're gonna get drowned, just like the Mizrahites, we're gonna read about them getting drowned. These people that's done had us, not just in this country, but to the four quarters of the earth, they are gonna get theirs, and it won't be water; it's gonna be fire.
That's right. And
And
I Salaki, go ahead. I'm
oh, go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead. No, go
Well,
ahead.
I was gonna say, just drawing another parallel between that generation and our generation, or you know, in today's times. I forget exactly where the address of the scripture is at, but it talks about us leaving out of this captivity with great substance. Likewise, our ancestors in the Mizraim left out, spoiled of the
Uh,
Egyptians. So
mhm.
just another parallel that we see.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Hallelujah.
yeah. That was when he was telling Abraham, Father Abraham, that they will not leave empty. So
Okay.
yeah, he was telling them here. That's what I say. This is a double. I believe it's a double. That yes, he was talking about Mizraim, but he was also talking about this next captivity because these people are gonna be giving us stuff. They're gonna want us out the same manner, and we're gonna end up. I believe. Now, this is my own belief. I believe that these people are going to. It's going to be a worldwide push to get these so-called Negroes out of their land, and they're gonna send us back to Africa, and from Africa we're gonna migrate to Israel, and we're gonna go, and that's where we're gonna end up, and they're gonna come and attack us, and that's where we're gonna end up calling on the Most High, because we're not gonna be developed. We're gonna be, living amongst each other, but we're not gonna be developed, and they're gonna come and attack us, and we're not gonna have anything but our belief, and we're gonna call on the Most High, and down gonna come Hamashiach. And when Hamashiach come down, he'll put an end to all the he'll put an end to all of it, and it's gonna be over with. So that's my personal belief. As we'll see more as we continue to read. But man, this is all praises, for another uh, just wonderful lesson. A bunch of wonderful uh, three chapters. That we I feel always that every time we read that I learn more than I knew before. Just
Indeed.
reading it,
Con, con.
yeah, just reading it again. Just further builds, and then of course we talking and communing as our king. So that's such a barakah as well. We right at about an hour and a half. So, uh, anybody got anything else to add?
Oh,
Um,
I'm
I
sorry.
was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna mention. No, you good. I'm Hezekiah. I'm pretty sure I know where you stand, but I think I heard you, Mr. Kenaniah, that you believe that it was the Mashiach speaking to Moshe there.
Khan.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
You got something different?
Uh, well, I mean, different. I mean, how you put it as far as uh, I don't quite believe that Yahushua as the Messiah, as he was born, that he was born as the Word. Um, I'm under the impression that when the Spirit descended on him after his baptism,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the Word fell upon him, and he began to operate as the power of the Most High Yah, but he wasn't always acting as the power of the Most High Yah. So I
Okay.
believe that the power that descended upon him was talking to Moshe, but I
As
believe I
emerging.
don't. Right, the power that descended upon Yahushua after his immersion was the same
Hmm.
power speaking to Moshe, but he didn't always that power was always in the vessel of Yahushua the man.
Okay. That's reasonable. That's reasonable. I don't you know, once we get to Matit Yahoo and into the New Testament, the what's called the New Testament, we'll see kind of what his some of his exploits as a child, and
Mhm.
um, you know, for the Most High to bring him to through that the situation that he was in,
Mhm.
where Herod sought to kill all the male Israelite children,
Mhm.
and yet he was able to flee to Mizraim to be spared, and he stayed in Mizraim until Herod was dead, and he was able to come back as a child, and yet was yet about his father's business. Um,
Mhm.
I believe that there was some semblance of that very Messiah there, because I think if that was the case, if that was not the case, that he could have picked any child or any adult male and just put that spirit on him. But
Con.
Yeah.
much like Moshe, he had a beginning. From the beginning, he was intervening right in
Mhm.
his existence, and so I believe that that specific man was for that specific purpose. And
Right.
um,
Well, I believe what I mean when I say that that's Mashiach speaking. You know, we know that it's in that we read in Deuteronomy 6:4.
mhm,
Uh Yahweh, your power is unified, you know,
mhm,
Father, Son, and the Ruach.
mhm,
So when I just read that he told Moshe that he's gonna go back and tell Moses that he's gonna come and worship his power. I'm saying that that's I feel like if it was the Most High speaking, it would have been he would have said you're gonna come and worship me.
mhm,
Uh,
Right.
but but he said you're gonna come and worship your power.
mhm.
So
Mhm.
in those three those three in one, I believe that that was Mashiach speaking. If that clears it up any I pray it did.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I just you know, I love this process that we're going because you know I don't like to get ahead of where we're at. I like to bring things out as we're going and
Con.
see where y'all stand on it. But
Mhm.
like it's different things and throughout, even before we get to the New Testament, through what the Messiah was to be, like through Ezekiel and different places. So
Mhm,
like it's gonna be good seeing where y'all stand on different things because you know I definitely believe that Yehoshua had the same spirit of this heavenly messenger that's talking to
mhm,
Moshe.
mhm,
Uh, it's just I don't see if he was born. I believe he had a purpose. He's born with a purpose, just like we can see Moshe was. That
mhm.
different events lined up perfectly for him to be who he was, right?
Con.
So like I believe he was born with the purpose that he was definitely special, set apart from other people
Mhm,
uh, from a young youth. But as far as how we see the Mashiach today as the son of the Father and all that he has the authority of,
mhm,
I don't see all the authority, him speaking in the authority so much as the power until after the baptism. I think when the
Okay.
Spirit descended upon him, I don't think he was born like the son of at the father as Elohim himself, as a power, heavenly power himself. I don't
Hmm.
believe he was born that way. That we would have had to see the Spirit descend on him if he already had that within him all together. You know what I mean?
Kind.
Con.
Well, consider as well. Consider as well as it bring me to another piece of the text where she came to her cousin uh, who carried John the Baptist, John the
Hmm.
Immerser,
Right.
and when she came to her, the babe in her womb, the babe leapt. He was like, "Whoa, that's who." So he recognized in the womb. He recognized, "Oh, this is Yahushua right here." This is the,
Mhm.
and then of course his name. Understanding his name, meaning that this is the salvation of the Most High.
Right.
So yeah. But I get what you're saying. I definitely don't think that he walked into his true. He was not truly manifested in the human form until that ruach, until that immersion, and that
Right.
ruach came down and took upon him, and it was at that point that he was definitely at a higher level. I can't recall was the wedding, the water and the wine, was that before or after the immersion? I can't recall that.
That was before.
It was
Mhm.
before. Okay, kind. Okay. Just yeah. So that'll be interesting when we get further into that point. But
Yeah. I don't want to get too ahead of things.
no,
You
no,
know,
no sweat, no
we
sweat.
unpack things as we go along.
Kind,
As just
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
like me and my wife, we be having different discussions sometimes, and
Oh yeah,
we hear other discussions. So I
yeah,
know
yeah.
we all got the same goal in mind as far as walking it out, trying to walk it
Yes.
out as best possible.
Oh, yes, indeed.
It's like
Yes,
so.
indeed. And that's what that's what the premise is. We all in here to we're just reading words off the page. We're here to learn and to grow in this word. So
Indeed.
all praises to the Most High for allowing us to be able to do this thing, and it is such a barakah. So let's go ahead to our final thoughts, and go ahead, Yali, and you can just if you want to give a little summary or synopsis of the last three chapters, and or whatever you want to put in is perfectly fine.
Yeah, come. In these three chapters, we get into the book of Exodus. We coming into a change in power and in the land of Egypt, which brings the people of Israel into bondage. And we're seeing uh, a special one of Israel and Moshe being put in all the right situations to do the work, as we
Yes,
know he would do later on. We haven't seen him yet get into the work yet, but we've seen the setup for someone who has always been around leadership and it's going to be put in a position of leadership. So, looking forward to what is to come in the later chapters.
yes, indeed. All praises. All right, go ahead, Akira, if
Hallelujah.
you don't mind.
Con. All praises to the Father, man. Uh, we had spoke briefly about, how it came to be that, well, we read that in the previous book, in Bereshit, how it is that our ancestors came to dwell in Mizraim. And we talked about, what if our ancestors never had gone, but also remembering what the Most High spoke to our father Israel in Genesis chapter 46, verse 2. And the power spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and
Mm-hmm.
said, Yaakov. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am the power of thy father. Fear not to go down into Mizraim, for I will there make of thee a great nation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with the making of a great nation, it's gonna be blood, sweat, and tears,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes, indeed.
our ancestors were were definitely dealing with all of that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in their rigorous labor that
Mm-hmm.
they were put through, and the bondage. Likewise, you know, our ancestors have gone through rigorous labor
Mm-hmm.
here in the diaspora
Yes,
of
indeed.
our people, man. So it's just a really interesting point in our people's history.
Yeah.
And the book continues. You know, the saga continues through us, through our
Yes,
children.
indeed.
You know,
Hallelujah. Praise
all
God.
praise to the Father.
Hallelujah. All praises, no doubt. You know, getting into these first three chapters, is just to me such a barakah. And I've said the same thing about the beginning about Bereshit. Reading through that entire book, you know, uh, just such a barakah to pull out information and to learn and to grow and to get better. In these three chapters, we see the Most High setting up a grand plan, and that plan started in Levi, and with a woman, a man of Levi, taking a daughter of Levi, making her his wife, and having a baby. And despite the hardship that our people had gone through, that the slavery, the rigorous, uh, harsh bondage that we were forced into by the Mizrahites, uh, the Most High yet persevered, and He was with us. And when I look back over my own life, and I just see all the times in my history that the Most High was with me, and He kept me and protected me and shielded me when I coulda, shoulda, woulda been destroyed, been shot, been broken, and He was with me as He was with Moshe during this time, and as He was with our fathers, during their time. And so, all praises to the Most High for all that He has done, for even having the will to want to get into this book and read through this, these books of these pages of the HaTorah, of HaTorah. I said the pages of HaTorah, and to learn and to grow continuously, and to get better and stronger in this word, in this will of our Father, of the Abba of our people, of our nation, and it's just a barakah, and I can never say enough how thankful I am, to the Most High, for all that He's done for me, through Hamashiach, through everything that through all the ways that He's made a way for me, and it's just a complete and utter barakah. So we're gonna end it there, and once again, I give all praise, honor, and great esteem to the Most High Power, Yahuwah, Bahashem, Yahushua, Hamashiach, and to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four quarters of the earth. I say Shalom Wabarukim, that is peace and blessings. And I cannot wait to the day that the Most High brings us back together. And we are once again 12 tribes, one family, one nation, under the Most High Power, once again, under one covenant. Until that day, Shalom, family.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Yasharah.
Shalom, shalom.
Hallelujah.